Hello and welcome to the September 24th edition of The Story Behind the Stories. Thank you very much as always for tuning in and spending a little bit of your time with us. I'm Eoin Devereux, news and sports reporter with the Neepawa Banner Press. This week I'm joined by Paterson, news reporter with the Banner Press as well. She refuses to cover sports.
No.
Yep.
It's not my beat, man.
Yeah. So that's why I get the sports.
Yep.
But let's talk about this week's paper. There's not much sports in it, so Kira's going to be happy about that.
Hallelujah.
But there is a lot of news, nonetheless, that we found very interesting and very happy to be able to cover and to share with you this week. Let's start off with a special feature we have in this latest edition. We have had so many special features as of late. It's whether it's been Farmer's Advocate, which has gone over very well, whether it's Trucking Week, which has been very informative for everyone in terms of that industry and the celebration and the honesty in that industry. You know, it's very good. And this week we went back to school, not physically, not literally, but in our own way we did with the Meet the Teachers feature. This year, though, we had to change it up just a little bit, didn't we, Kira?
Yep, and it's understandable. I know a lot of the staff at the different schools that we contacted were saying, well, we're not sure if we're comfortable with a group photo because obviously social distancing isn't very easy when you're trying to squeeze everybody into one camera frame.
Yep.
And having their masks on would kind of defeat the purpose. You wouldn't even be able to see the teacher. So we kind of took a different approach. I think it was actually John's idea. He came up with another way to do it, to kind of still feature each school, but not make people cram into the same room together.
Yep. So essentially, you'll see it. It's 4 pages this year. It's Meet the Buildings.
Basically.
Essentially. Once you pick up a hard copy, you'll be able to see it up close and personal. All the different schools throughout, all the different school divisions that we cover. We do cover more than just beautiful plains. Pine Creek, Turtle River.
Rolling River.
Rolling River as well. So if you want to check that out, it is 4 pages, pages 9 through 12 this week. So a lot of time, a lot of effort was put into that. And we do thank everyone who supported us in that endeavor. Got to give a shout out to John Drinkwater as well.
He did all the work. He drove all over the world to get pictures of every single school, except for Langruth was submitted. But thanks Sonova for that. But yeah, he was all over the place. There was, I want to say like 20 some odd schools that he went and took pictures of. And then he contacted all these schools to get the list of their staff or their teachers. Yep. So we've got the names of either staff or teachers, whatever the school wanted to send in. So you can kind of meet the teachers. You can see what building they work in and see their names.
Yep. And thanks to Kira as well, who put together all these items on the pages. I mean, when it comes to assembling this into something that's actually visibly pleasing, you know, you did a good job there this week. Yep.
I did my best anyway.
Yep, it turns into a real game of Tetris.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while to try and fit all the information and all the ads onto a page. You'd be surprised, genuinely surprised, the little things behind the scenes that have to be done to make something like that come to a reality. So hopefully you'll take a few minutes and you'll check it out. We've got all the teachers, the newest teachers listed for each and every one of them. And we genuinely hope this time next year we'll be able to see some smiling faces on there. So that's this year's edition of Meet the Teachers and Meet the Buildings they work in. All right, let's head over to the front page. Very pleased with this and very pleased with some of the response we got to the front page. Just going to show you right now the headline, Autumn Tranquility. And that is, this time of year, everything with the fall foliage is just, it's all so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we were wondering about what we were going to put on the front page. We had some great stories we're going to be talking about, but none of them had that really dynamic visual component that went with them.
So what Eoin did was he threatened people to get them to send in their photos.
That's right. I threatened you with words. I sent out the message on Twitter and Facebook saying that we wanted some sort of picture, and if not, we were going to have to put my wordy council stuff on the front page.
And nobody wants that. So.
And the pictures came flooding in.
Yeah, they did.
We ended up with about a dozen, didn't we?
Yeah, I would say so. There was 4 or 5 different people that sent in kind of a handful of photos each, so it was really good.
Yeah. And again,
and it was last minute too. Like
Yep.
we put the message out the day before, and then the next day we had tons of photos. So sometimes it takes a few days, but this time it was quite a quick reaction, which is good.
And thank you very much for that. Like I said, we weren't able to put all of them in there. We only put one on there. And again, you're gonna think it's favoritism. It wasn't favoritism. Of the dozen we had, for working on a newspaper page, this was the best one this week.
And there are some that are beautiful,
Yep.
but they're kind of sunset or shadows or
Yep.
things, and they're amazing on the screen. But when there's that dark aspect to it, it's really hard to print. Like it just gets kind of muddy. So we loved some of the pictures, but we just couldn't really print them, do justice to them in print, basically. And
Yep.
that's why kind of we chose this one.
Yeah, and it is. We say that because it is from Christine Waddell. While she was out golfing at Neepawa Golf and Country Club, just had this beautiful sort of visual angle on the White Mud River. She was able to take a picture, and she forwarded it to us. But if you send us a picture, don't worry. We are going to find a space for it in future editions. We don't want to waste these. There were so many pictures, and for one reason or another, either it was too much shadow, or as Kira said, some of the sun was shining into the picture, or it was a case of we had no idea where the location was. So it was hard to sort of it was hard to sort of put it on the front page and not have a story behind it. So, but we will find spaces for them. We do appreciate that. And quite honestly, I hope we keep sending them in. Mm-hmm. We'll figure something out. You know, anytime I can write less words, I'm fine. I like to coast every once in a while, don't you, Kira?
Oh yeah, I love it when people send in great pictures because then I don't have to go out and get them.
Yeah. So, and this time of year, it is pretty darn easy.
Oh yeah.
To find a good picture
Yeah.
and to take a good picture.
Yeah, the leaves are just amazing in Neepawa. Every time I drive in, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. I need to stop and take a picture, but I'm like late for work, so I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just.
Yet you never leave 5 minutes earlier.
No,
That's
I
weird.
can't manage it. But.
So that's the front page of this week's edition. And on the side there, it's kind of interesting that we talk about the autumn tranquility with a story that's not so tranquil. The announcement came down Tuesday evening, actually, from the province. They confirmed a possible COVID-19 exposure at Gladstone Elementary School. With all the kids going back to school right now, that is a possibility. And they have confirmed that an individual, they're not giving names, they're not giving anything like that, they're just saying an individual that was in the school during a certain period of time between the 8th and the 10th and the 14th. That person was asymptomatic. So they're just putting the warning out there. So that's what's happening there. It's quite honestly, it's the reality of the situation. Don't think just because we don't live in Winnipeg or we don't live in Brandon that it can't happen here. Mm-hmm. That's being a little naive. What do you think, Kira?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good that it's in Gladstone, but it is kind of a good reminder that we do need to still be careful here. And hopefully there wasn't any actual exposure. Hopefully everybody was sticking to the rules, social distancing, wearing their masks, so that there wasn't really any chance of this person spreading it. So
Yep.
We hope to hear some good news about that soon.
That's right. And once again, that's something that came down a little unexpectedly Tuesday evening. We just got a quick write-up on the front page there because it is a story that is important enough that the message needs to be spread out there. We don't want to instill fear. I mean, as long as we're all being careful, wearing the masks, even though the mask mandate for Prairie Mountain Health has been it's been eliminated since we went down from orange level
to
yellow.
Yeah.
But I still wear it everywhere. If I'm going out, if I'm going into stores, I still wear it. I don't have to, but I do because I want to be safe. I want to be careful of people, and I hope that they're careful of me. because I'm not wearing the mask for me, I'm wearing it for you. And hopefully you'll have the same consideration. It's a piece of cloth, 10 to 15 minutes in the co-op, no big deal. And when you look at the way the numbers changed over the month in which it was mandatory, I think it works. I do. I genuinely think it does. So let's have a little consideration out there, and let's be careful. Let's beat this thing. So that's my take on it. So speaking of takes, Ken Waddell, as always, has an interesting take on his column. Right in the center. This week, he has talked a lot about COVID-19 over the weeks and over the months since this situation has developed. And he's talking about it again this week. And he's asking a lot of questions here. And I'll be honest, I don't think me chiming in is going to do his take justice on this. What are you feeling the same way, Kira?
Yeah, I mean, he's got his opinion, and that's what you're going to read in the article is the opinion. And I mean, there's not a lot you can kind of say about it in general.
He asks a lot of questions, and some of these questions he prefaces by saying, yes, this is another individual, an American writer who was, he wasn't able to identify the original source, but he does accredit that these are questions another writer had asked. And just to give some context, I'll throw a few of them out there. Talking about usage of vaccines when they become available for COVID-19. I mean, will people really flock to them in the early stages? Are they going to feel a little iffy about that, about interactions and about sort of other risks that are out there, even aside from COVID-19, comparing them? I can't throw in my 2 cents on this, but I would love to hear your 2 cents on this. So give it a read, give it some thought.
And send us a letter.
We love letters.
Yeah.
And not just letters from Paramore. Leonard, we do appreciate all the letters you do send us. You keep Ken on his toes, and we like it. Leonard sent us another letter this week talking about the federal conservatives there. It's an older sort of item, but Leonard always likes to send something in, challenge Ken on a couple different things. And we hope if you want to challenge him, or if you agree with him, we want to hear both perspectives. Again, with opinion, for the most part, opinion is never right, it's never wrong, it's opinion. When I do my articles, I never say that it's fact, I just say it's my opinion. And if you agree with them, if you disagree with them, that's fine. And the same with Ken. Ken does it on a weekly basis because I can only be clever once a month. That's my quota for this paper. But Ken's able to bring some stuff to the table each and every week, and hopefully you'll give it a read and give us your take on it. Let's move over to a little bit of the actual news that's been going on. There's a whole heck of a lot.
Oh, yeah.
All those wordy council things we were threatening you with earlier, we're going to talk about them right now. One of them is Park Lake. Neepawa Town Council was talking about the latest updates with the situation on Park Lake. As you know, it was breached due to the Canada Day storms, caused some flooding in the area. And Park Lake is essentially a river. It's still a river right now. And now everybody's talking about, well, what should we do with it? And council members were talking about some of the things they've been hearing from people in the community, how they've been interacting with the province of Manitoba, who are putting together programs to help communities such as Neepawa, such as Minnedosa, get back on their feet. But they acknowledged there is no quick fix on this. If you think this is going to be done this time next year, no. This is going to be a 3 to 5 year project. And it's not the fault of the town of Neepawa. The town of Neepawa does want to move on this, but unfortunately they sometimes have to move at the pace of the province, and sometimes they have to move at the pace of the federal government. And as you know, neither of those are known for their jackrabbit speed when it comes to getting stuff done. Municipal government, I always say, always gets the most abuse when it comes to what they're doing because they're right there, but they're also the ones that usually are the most effective. They get stuff done on a pretty quick pace compared to the province and compared to the feds. But yeah, they got to work with those two other levels of government sometimes, though. They're going to be a little frustrated by the process, but they're still hoping that there will be some progress in the future.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the main thing is just that Park Lake is such a big project, and no matter what they do with it, if they just make it back to what it was, or if they want to dig it up and make it a little deeper so that people can use it for recreation and that kind of a thing, either way, it's still going to be crazy expensive. So they have to hope that there are there's some money available from the province, maybe some from the federal government, and maybe look for some elsewhere. So really, it's going to take looking for all this money and then getting approval on their projects, and then getting the province to say, okay, that's fine, blah, 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 because for some reason they have a say in what we do in our town. And
you just have to look at Main Street to know that's true.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep,
so
that ain't a town. All those bumps and holes in Main Street, that ain't the town's fault. That's the province sort of dragging their heels, because they still get a say on that, since it used to be a highway.
That's Mountain Avenue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
Not Main Street. Main Street is actually still the highway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like...
Well, again,
it's
I always
the
think,
Main Street,
yeah.
but it's not called Main Street. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
but just for clarity's sake. But yeah, no, Park Lake, I really hope that they can do something great with it. It's just, I hope we're all still alive by the time that happens and we're not, like, prehistoric.
Man, that took a dark turn. There we go.
It's like a generation in the future. We're still digging out Park Lake.
Kiro went morbid. Again, another story I talk about here, it sort of has to do with that as well. You can find it on page 19 of this week's edition. Last week we talked a little bit about the provincial announcement about some disaster relief programs that are being pushed forward by the province. And the deadline for those, if I remember correctly, is December 10th, that municipalities, rural municipalities, and individuals and businesses can apply for this and get some support from any damage that was caused by the flooding that occurred during the summer. Obviously, Neepawa, we just talked about Park Lake, but Minnedosa especially, $5 to $5.5 million worth of damage. That number keeps going up. I had a chance to talk not just with Blake McCutcheon, the mayor of Neepawa, but Pat Schatz, the mayor for the town of Minnedosa. They gave their perspective on what this support means for them and how they'll be able to move forward. They're optimistic about it. They know there's no quick fix. Everything's not going to be fixed by the time the snow flies. It's probably going to be a next year project, but they're still hopeful about that. So there's that on page 19. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we hope that all the individuals, like I know that there were a lot of people that got kicked out of their homes for a while because they were full of water and that kind of thing. So we hope they can get a little bit of compensation out of that too.
Yeah.
Because that would be very helpful.
As bad as it was in Neepawa, and if you live in Neepawa, we saw it firsthand. Minnedosa was tenfold, quite honestly. We got lucky. Neepawa always seems to be on the edge of weather, I always find. When a major storm comes rolling through, we just get the sprinkles normally.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, this major storm that hit us, we got the sprinkles again.
Even though it did not feel like sprinkles.
It didn't feel like sprinkles, but it was comparatively to Rapid City Rivers in Minnedosa.
Yeah.
So there's that. Page 19 on that story. And Park Lake you can find on page 2 of this week's edition of the Banner Press. Now if you shift over to the back page, we got a great story that Kira has been working on. It's sort of a continuation. You've done several stories on this over the weeks, haven't you?
Yeah,
Kira?
this is the third of 3, so it's the last one, I promise. There were 3 community foundations in our coverage area that received $40,000 each from the Emergency Community Support Fund, which is a federal fund that was in response to COVID-19. And they wanted organizations to get some money in response to COVID-19 because obviously there's more expenses. So there were 6 organizations in the Carberry area that received from the Carberry Area Community Foundation. And I got a little bit of some details on that. There were the 2 schools, the United Church, the library, Arts Council, and the care home all got some money. And yeah, so a lot of them, it seems like technology was a big thing, because obviously with schools there's going to need to be some capacity for remote learning in case that happens again.
Right.
At the library, they wanted to be able to rent out iPads, so they got some iPads for a loaning kind of program, so that if there's kids that don't have computers at home, they can potentially loan an iPad. If there's seniors that want to FaceTime with their family that can't visit, then they can loan or rent an iPad.
How about online poker? Can I play online poker with those things,
I
or
mean,
is that not allowed?
You probably could, but I don't know if they have like rules in a contract or something like that. But
Yeah,
you'd have to talk to the library at Carberry.
It's probably one of those things that they frown upon using it for that.
Yeah. An interesting one though was the Arts Council, Carberry Plains Arts Council. They got $800. They were hoping to do an outdoor theater, drive-in movie theater, but it happened to be on the weekend that they announced that Prairie Mountain was going into code orange. So gatherings were restricted to 10 people, and so they couldn't really do anything. So they had to cancel that, and they're hoping to redirect those funds. They're still waiting on approval, but they're hoping to redirect those funds to do a Halloween activity. So that'll be exciting if that is able to happen. But yeah, there was the community, or the United Church used their money for their food cupboard.
Yeah.
And elementary school got some money for an outdoor classroom, which is really cool. So there's lots of really interesting stuff, what they're doing with the money in Carberry. Definitely give that a read.
That's really interesting, because you sort of realize not just this article, but all 3 that Kira did. You realize all the little groups and all the little organizations, they're doing these little things, trying to make their communities just a little bit better. You sort of take them for granted, out of sight, out of mind type thing, but when you see something like this, and you read an article like this, and you hear about all that time and effort that's going in to that, it makes you pretty darn proud to be part of the rural portion of Western Manitoba. So great work on that, and if you take a few minutes and give it a read, because it is very informative. So, all right, Kira.
That was my only story for this week, so I guess I'm done. I can leave the show, right?
No. We gotta get your perspective on this.
Uh-oh.
Kira, are you ready for some hockey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that for 1 second, but
Totally sincere.
But a lot of people are ready for some hockey. Preseason is about to begin for the Neepawa name redacted. So their season will be starting up on Friday. So if you're watching this on the 24th or 25th, it's on the 25th that it'll be occurring. They'll be hosting their 1 preseason game. They got 3 games in total. 2 of them are on the road, but 1 of them's here. And I think a lot of people are really chomping at the bit just to get out of the house and to see something. Roxy Theater's still closed. People are a little iffy about going to Brandon still. People don't want to go to Winnipeg. They're just looking for something just to focus on. And I'm hopeful that it'll be a little bit of hockey there. The team still needs your support. Last year they did lose a couple bucks. Their AGM indicated they lost a few bucks here and there. So, and the COVID situation, there is 50% capacity that they're going to be allowing for regular season games. Now, for a team like Steinbach and Winkler, who fill their arena on a regular basis, oh, that's going to stink. They're going to hate that. But that's the way it is right now. A team like Neepawa, let's be honest, they usually half fill the arena. So they're going to be just fine. But again, hopefully hopefully people will come out and support the team. I was out at the training camp last weekend, talked to GM and coach Ken Pearson. Very excited about what he's seeing in terms of the talent out there and what type of team they'll be able to put out on the ice representing our community for the year. The games will have social distancing. The games will have, I forget whether it's a request or whether it's mandated in the Yellowhead, that masks will be a requirement. I think they might be mandated in group settings. I'll have to refresh my memory on that off air. But hopefully you'll go down there. With the Stanley Cup playoffs ending shortly, you're going to be jonesing for hockey. You're going to be missing it. The Western Hockey League isn't starting until December, so that means no Brandon Wheat Kings. The NHL's new season won't be starting until December or potentially January, so that's no hockey night in Canada on Saturday. The MJHL has scheduled all their games essentially for Friday and Saturday night. So you got no excuse. Come on down to the arena, support your local team. And again, your local team, even if you're in Carberry, even if you're in Gladstone, St. Rose, Minnedosa. Neepawa is sort of a hub. So hopefully you'll take a quick little drive over and enjoy a little bit of hockey live and in person. And I think I've done a pretty good sell job. Ken would be proud of me, right?
Yeah,
Kira?
yeah. He's gonna start putting you on ad sales now, so you'd better be careful.
Oh, geez, no. I could not sell water to a person on fire, quite honestly. That's an impossibility. I've tried sales in the past. Yeah, not so good. So, but hopefully I did sell you a little bit on checking out Neepawa's team. It's going to be a great year, and I'm looking forward to it. Because as I said, just like you, council gets a little bit too wordy from time to time, so it's nice to cleanse the palate with people who are carrying sticks and hitting each other. And council could do that, but it's not very civil, But as opposed to figurative fighting in council, literal fighting on the ice in hockey.
Maybe they'd get more people to come out to council if they were fighting with sticks.
Well, they're just too nice and too effective.
Wow.
So we need to go back to back with dysfunctional councils.
We need some drama.
I'm not throwing out names though. I'm not throwing out council names there.
Who, Ken?
You know who you are, councils. But that's it for this week's edition of the Story Behind the Stories. As always, we do appreciate you taking a little bit of time and spending it with us. Kira, thank you very much for sitting on the couch and walking us through everything that we did to get from absolutely no idea what we were doing to a finished paper.
Yep. Thanks for putting up with me. So.
Well, I don't have to deal with you that much. She really gives it to Ken, though. She's just constantly hounding him. Yeah, I almost feel sorry for him.
I might be a workplace bully. I don't know.
But in order to keep Kira from bullying Ken, we need your news tips and we need your story ideas. And you can send them to us either by phone at 476-3401 or through email at news@neepawabanner.com. If it's sports related, sports@neepawabanner.com. We always appreciate a little bit of suggestions and any information you can provide. Ads as well, ads@neepawabanner.com. We appreciate that. It does help us out. I love my job, but I don't work for free. and fancy ties are expensive.
Fancy Walmart ties?
Exactly. And purple pants?
Yeah.
You can't believe how expensive purple pants are.
I know, right?
I've looked. I can't believe the prices. It's crazy.
Swear I'm not rich.
So that's how that plays out. And again, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time. It really is wonderful to see the community and the region continue to support Neepawa Banner and Press. We do appreciate you. And we hope you will tune in once again this time next week for the newest and latest edition of the Story Behind the Stories.